As long as there are players on the field, games to be played, and contests to be won, the orthopedic specialist from TOC Sports will be ready to help. We don't know what the future holds, but you can count on the TOC Sports team to stay committed to you so you can stay in the game. Call 256-539-2728 today and ask to see a TOC Sports physician. Check them out online, also Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Are you tired of listening to your favorite musician sing her favorite songs? Now Tom Abraham speaks Rihanna.
When the sun shines, we'll shine together. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella. Ella, Ella, A, under my umbrella. Ella, 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 A.
I like it. Good.
A. Under my umbrella, A. All right, you know how the song ends. Oh, baby, it's raining, raining. You could always come into me, it's pouring rain, come into me, it's pouring rain, it's pouring rain.
I probably wouldn't say that phrase again like that in that straight sentence.
Listen to the Tom Abraham Show, weekdays from noon till Paul on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Coach Nick Saban.
Helping children is very important to Miss Terry and me. As parents, it saddens us to know that there are more than 5,000 children in foster care in Alabama. These children need loving, nurturing families to care for them. We ask you to join the team and become champions for children by opening your heart, opening your home, and becoming a foster or adoptive parent.
For more information, call 1-866-4AL-KIDS. Sponsored by the Alabama Department of Human Resources, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
30 for 30 presents The Luckiest Guy in the World, Episode 1 and 2, Tuesday at 8 Eastern on ESPN. Streaming same night on ESPN+.
Exclusively on ESPN+, UFC 289, Saturday.
This is Paul Feinbaum. That'll do it for me today. Coming up next, The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Prepared and ready to go here on a Thursday. Along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton here with you. We are walking you up to Braves baseballs. The Braves are looking for the sweep over the Mets, who are currently in a 5-game losing skid. So, I mentioned this morning, I've been filling in for both Drew DeArmond and Scott Tyson this week. Tuesday was Drew, Wednesday was Scott, today was both of them. And I mentioned listening to Keith Hernandez, the former Met great, Sunday. He was on the Mets broadcast, who said, yeah, that Michael Harris, he's in a sophomore slump, and he has been slumping. To his credit, he has been struggling at the plate. Then this happened.
1-1 to Harris. High fly ball to deep center field. Back to the wall. Cold-blooded. Michael Harris. A home run to straightaway center. He just aimed right for their heart. And a 2-run homer to straightaway center. And the Braves have a 7-5 lead.
So, I just tip of the cap there to Keith Hernandez. No doubt that the baseball gods were listening the same time I was listening on Sunday. So, Braves looking for the sweep tonight. And I have yet to pull up the game notes to tell Wes exactly how many games. I would gather we may be nearing 50-ish, maybe a little bit more. How are you, Wes?
So we're
not even at the quarter post.
28.
Yeah, we're
28%.
not. Yeah, I mean, something like that. Jackson Love is behind the glass. The notes have just come down from MLB Press Box, and I can tell you that tonight is game number 62. 62, so it's well beyond what, I thought. So, come on. It's Spencer Strider versus Justin Verlander. That aside, we're going to talk a little college baseball coming up here in about 10 minutes' time with Gabe Gross from Auburn University, as we'll get his thoughts on what is a very SEC-heavy super regional weekend, including Alabama at Wake Forest, and you'll be able to hear it right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. There are certain points of a calendar year that I look forward to. I didn't know today would be one of those days, Wes, but it happened. When did this happen? It got into my inbox. Where are you? At 11:28 this morning. It is an email I received from Phil Steele in the Phil Steele magazine. Oh, yes. It is out. The Phil Steele magazine is out. And I immediately thumbed through it. Here is what Phil Steele believes is the hardest schedule in college football. I can hear you through the glass. Where do you think Auburn is?
Top 5 easily.
Oh, wow.
Just like every year.
Toughest schedule, according to Phil Steele, belongs to Prime. Colorado has the toughest schedule in college football. The first SEC team, the second hardest schedule this year in college football, the Auburn Tigers. The Auburn Tigers. That is followed by Northwestern, Stanford, Indiana, Georgia Tech, Michigan State, Iowa State, Vanderbilt, and Arkansas round out your top 10 toughest schedules in 2023.
It's Phil Steele.
Wes over here shaking his head.
I'm shaking it at you.
So where is Bama? Wes is asking. Alabama is
77.
77th is Louisiana.
Let me ask you a question. How can you play in the same division and you say 77th and Auburn second? Please explain that, Mr. Houston Astro.
Oh, wow. Banging the...
Yeah, well, he's rocking the Houston Astros shirt now.
Yeah, you guys just mad the Astros swept the Braves.
How long ago was that?
Like a month ago. It doesn't matter.
77th is Louisiana Lafayette, by the way, or the University of Louisiana. Bama comes in 15th on Phil Steele's toughest schedules.
And that's only because they don't have to play Bama.
Bama is ahead of Texas and behind Missouri.
Well, Missouri's in the East. The East is better, though, except for Florida's taking why do I get the feeling Florida's turning into Vanderbilt? I mean, not Vanderbilt, but Tennessee. Well, for a minute there, Tennessee was Vanderbilt.
Yes, because Vandy was beating Tennessee on a regular basis.
Right. So,
but that is no longer the case.
I just don't believe your one team, if you're Tennessee, should be Vanderbilt. I mean, that's not a rivalry.
So you think this toughest schedule here for Phil Steele?
I don't know. It might be right. It might be wrong. It really doesn't matter till you get about halfway through the season.
Phil is right more than he's wrong. Just over the years. He's sneaking up on 30 years of this magazine, and it's, fun to look at. In terms of opponent winning percentage, using last year's records, keep in mind, I realize not everybody's back on every single roster, but using last year's wins and losses, who has the toughest schedule? In just terms of wins and losses, that'd be South Carolina. Their opponents won 103 games last year collectively. That's followed by Michigan State, West Virginia, and then Ole Miss, followed by Missouri. Auburn is 12th. Their opponents this year they won 93 games last year. And Alabama is 31st on this. Opponents for Bama this year.
So where was Ole
last
Miss
year
overall,
won,
Steve?
Where was who?
Because Ole Miss has a very hard schedule.
For the toughest schedule or opponent winning percentage?
Toughest schedule.
Toughest schedule, Ole Miss.
Auburn was second. Why wouldn't Ole Miss be second? Have you looked at
Ole Miss doesn't have to play Georgia, too.
Yeah, they do, at Georgia.
Do they really? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
yeah. You got
But not annually.
No, not annually. Well, they play them next year. We're talking about next year.
I'm looking for
Mr.
Mississippi.
Astro.
I'm looking for Mississippi.
So,
they are 30th. 30th.
How can that be when
on
you
this
play
list?
at Alabama?
Well, they get to play Georgia Tech. That's an easy win.
At Georgia, Ole Miss does. Ole Miss plays at Georgia, at Alabama. They play the West schedule. I think they played at Auburn too. Also, they play at Auburn. And so what? Who else they got? They play. But they might not play a very hard non-conference. Who's Auburn's non-conference?
They're at Cal.
Oh, the old Bears. Did they win 2 or 3 games last year?
They lost to Colorado last year.
There's a toughie.
They lost to Colorado last year. There is some news in regards to the Big Ten. They did not need a year to think about it. The Big Ten has released their conference opponent schedules, and conference opponents, they have a protected annual rivalry. Here is the list of the protected annual rivalries for the Big Ten this season. Michigan, Ohio State. Duh. Michigan, Michigan State. Minnesota and Wisconsin. Minnesota and Iowa. I was worried about that one. Wisconsin and Iowa. Nebraska and Iowa. Maryland and Rutgers. Indiana and Purdue. Illinois and Purdue. Illinois and Northwestern. I know every time I see Illinois and Northwestern, I just stop what I'm doing. And USC, UCLA.
Well,
I can't tell you the last time I watched an Illinois Northwestern game.
Did you notice that Penn State is getting no protected games?
I did.
There's no protected games.
Unrivaled.
So we'll dive into a little bit of what the Big Ten.
I don't even know what unrivaled means.
It's what they market themselves as.
Oh.
Yeah. That's their moniker of. Anyway.
Because they refuse to play Pitt every year.
Would like to thank Corlejos Mexican Grill for feeding us this evening. They are our zone deal, bright and early tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. You can get $50 worth, and I went by there today, and there was a group that I told, and they were like, excuse me, we get $50 for $25? Excuse me, where do I go for this? So you go to the website, 977ESPN.com, click on the zone deal, and it launches tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The Tom Abraham Show has requested a live remote from Corlejos Mexican Grill, which is right next to Westminster Christian. And if you don't know where that is, because Wes just said, I have no idea where that is, you go up Research Park Boulevard. I almost called it Right Out again. Get off on Oakwood, turn left, go under the overpass like you're heading towards Providence, and it'll be the first light on the right where the Publix is. Yeah. Right next to Westminster Christian. So I think there's a dance studio there on that corner as well. But they hooked us up with egg rolls, with tacos, with the burrito. Man, the burrito is fantastic. But if you're craving some Mexican food tonight, then swing on by. You can give them a call at 256-945-7826, or just go by and, I mean, heck, I did not even order ahead, and Lalo was just like, come on by, I'll give you what you need, and it was ready in about 5-10 minutes. So good stuff there, and that zone deal launches tomorrow morning. Let's take our first time out. Gabe Gross from the Auburn Tigers joins us next.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
When was the last time you changed the oil in your car? You probably know the answer to that without having to think too hard. When was the last time you've had your home's air conditioning system checked? If the answer is, I've never done that before, you should listen to the rest of this commercial. Your home's heating and cooling system is very likely the most expensive appliance you have. You've got your refrigerator, you got your washer and dryer, your TV, and other electronic devices. None of these items come close to the investment you have in your home's heating and cooling system. And what's even more startling is your home's comfort system uses more energy than all of your other appliances combined. Become a member of the Environmental Comfort Systems Comfort Care Club, and we'll make sure your home's comfort system is operating the way it's supposed to. So give Environmental Comfort Systems a call today. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, or visit our website at envcomfort.com. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems.
There are those among us when disaster strikes and seconds count, they rush in. Where would Huntsville and America be without them? They're our military and our first responders, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we salute them. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where all military personnel and all first responders get an extra $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all other offers. This offer is good through July 5th and can include an extra $1,000 bonus cash on 2023 F-150 and Bronco Sport, $1,500 cash back on 23 Edge, and $2,000 cash back on 23 Explorers. These offers are available for everyone with good credit through Ford Motor Credit, but military and first responders get an additional $1,000 appreciation cash. Our way of saying thank you for having our back. Woody Anderson Ford, over 60 years of serving those that serve us. Hope to see you soon.
Now open, this is your invitation to experience the grand opening of AVIQ's new 10,000 square foot showroom. The best brands in home audio, home theater, and home automation. The place to see and hear and feel and listen and watch. The place where you can audition top brand audio and video equipment before it goes in your home. World-class brands now available in Huntsville. Come experience the difference. 1833 University Drive, just east of the Parkway at the all-new AVIQHSV.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyandersonford.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here with you on The Drive. Along with Wes Neighbors, Steve Moulton back here with you. Proud Auburn grad, Jackson Love, behind the glass.
He's already ditched the Auburn stuff, has the Houston Astros on. Why don't...
Coach Gabe Gross from the Auburn Tigers is kind enough to join us to talk a little baseball. How are you, Coach?
Man, we are. I'm doing good. Not as good as I'd be doing if we were getting ready to play for a super regional. But other than that, we're hanging in there.
Well, let's head into what happened last week, in your opinion, Coach.
Baseball can be a really weird game. We played so well for really about 5 weeks, 6 weeks of the season. The last half of the SEC season, we led the conference 12-3 record, and back-to-back. I think at the time ranked South Carolina and LSU were 1 and 2 in the country, beat them back-to-back weekends, and just got the last little bit right there. Those 2 games in a regional, you didn't play well. We didn't pitch good enough. We didn't hit good enough, and didn't play good enough defense. And you don't do that, you get beat. I don't care who you are or where you're playing, and it's hard to know, put your finger on exactly why. But just needed to play better. Certainly, there were some opportunities. Had some hard hit balls that hit at people and got run down. But that's part of the game.
It is so hard. As hard as it is, at least from my opinion, to predict a winner in the men's basketball tournament, I'd say it feels like it's about 10 times harder to predict what's going to break down, who's going to even make it to Omaha, because I really thought Vanderbilt, there was no stopping Vanderbilt, and they didn't even make it to Supers either, Coach.
Baseball's a weird game to predict. There's no doubt. If you want a surefire winner in the big leagues, you let a bad team lose about 9 in a row and then face the number one team's ace, and there's a pretty good chance that the bad team's going to beat them. It's a weird phenomenon. We don't understand it. But I saw that. I remember in my career in the big leagues, it seemed like that happened all the time. It's a really weird game, but Vanderbilt played great all through the SEC tournament. Again, just to win that tournament sometimes is a harder thing to do than win Omaha with the talent that is accumulated in Hoover every year. Arkansas was in that same boat. Arkansas was co-champions of the SEC, and didn't get out of their own regional. And I tell you what, Arkansas hadn't lost many regionals played in Fayette. They are Fayetteville. They're pretty strong. They're a pretty tough team to beat up there. But man, you get into it. There's a lot of talent across the board. Baseball is a pretty equal game when you're talking about regionals, super regionals. The guy on the bump makes a huge difference, and some of these teams, and despite being a 3 or 4 seed, they got a couple of arms that can really throw. I tip my hat to the young man started for Penn that opening night. He's 91 to 93, sinking the ball, throwing a really good slide and a changeup, 3 pitches per strikes, both sides of the plate. And, we battled him and had our chances and couldn't get anything across on him. And a young man pitched a well of a ball game, and happened to Arkansas as well. Vanderbilt. There's a lot of good baseball players out there.
And Coach, to what you just said, how in the world are the 2 last national championships end up the last 2 teams in the league? I mean, how does that happen?
I don't know. It scares the life out of me. I know that. It really does. It really speaks to how tough our league is. You got to be buttoned up, and you got to be playing at the highest level possible every single weekend. Avoid injuries helps, although it seems like almost every year you're having to deal with injuries. We certainly had to deal with it. Lost Joseph Gonzalez very early in the season as our it was going to be our number 1 starter, but so did other teams. Had to deal with injuries as well, and it's just part of it. But Mississippi State, Ole Miss win the championship, national championship, and then can't come back and even make the tournament the next year. It is no idea how difficult it is navigating our league, and just man, if something's just a little bit off, it can eat you up.
Last time you were part of a tie in baseball was when, Coach?
Last year.
I don't know, backyard wiffle ball when Mom told you to come in and eat. I do not remember. It's possible that it's happened at some point that I don't remember. But it doesn't happen very often, man. Baseball's not supposed to end in a tie. You play the 4 o'clock in the morning to keep from ending in a tie, unless you got a flight back to the West Coast, college kids, and class to get to on Monday, and then you can end in a tie.
And it ends 12-12. I mean, it's not like it was a 1-1 game. I mean, that just astounded me.
And if I'm remembering correctly, there's so much baseball played between then and now. But I think it was most of those runs were scored early in the game.
Oh,
We
really?
couldn't score anything late.
Oh,
it was really a weird game.
Oh boy! Talking to Coach Gabe Gross right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Just to verify, Coach, that game happened on February 26th. The game we're referencing against USC. So yeah, just a few games have happened since then.
Yeah.
But it does feel like this is once again SEC Tournament Part 2 heading into this weekend. I'm really intrigued by both super regionals, be it in Baton Rouge or Gainesville. Which one intrigues you more, Coach?
You know what? I really think the Gainesville regional does. South Carolina just wailed Florida early in the year, and Florida's a really good baseball team. May have the most high-end talent. Them and LSU probably the two that have the most high-end talent all over the place on the field. Their starting pitching is good. Got a good closer. Their lineup is strong 1 through 9, and South Carolina just took it to them. And South Carolina dealt with some injuries late in the year, and then seems like they've gotten back people healthy, and they just boat raced through the regional. And so that's a very interesting regional to me, because South Carolina's back playing good, but it's hard to beat a good team 5 out of 6 times, and that's what South Carolina's going to have to do, counting the sweep that they put on Florida early in the year. And Florida's a really good baseball team.
It is hard to wrap my head around the fact that the winner of that regional there in Gainesville will have not gone, I think I'm saying that right, will not make it to, the last time either of them made it to Omaha was 2018. And that's that sounds foreign to me, Coach.
It's a pretty good program. Florida seemed like they made reservations there every year for about 5 or 6 years in a row, and then you go back to the 2010-ish. Of course, South Carolina won back-to-back national championships, and Ray Tanner really had that program rolling all through the 2000s and culminated in a couple of back-to-back championships, not a couple of them, but a back-to-back championship run, and I think they lost in the championship game and could have won 3 in a row. And so those are 2 proud programs. And Florida's been close, but hadn't been able to get there. In fact, I think I saw an article where O'Sullivan said it really made him appreciate what they did and how hard it was, just because they hadn't been even able to even come close to playing for it in the last 4 or 5 years, and now they're back 2 wins away from it. It's not easy. It does, even seeing how quickly just a rough couple of games can get you out of a regional makes me appreciate really what we've been able to do at Auburn a little bit. But at that point, we hadn't lost a regional game since I'd been back. We went 3-0 in 18, 19, and 22. 19 and 22 wound up in Omaha, and it's a hard thing to do. It's really, a lot of really good teams get tripped up. Of course, Tennessee last year was the consensus #1 best team, maybe the best team ever to take the field in college baseball, and got tripped up in the super regional, didn't make it. It's a tough, hard thing in college baseball.
And that's what I was going to ask. When was the last time a team that won the conference won the national championship? Gosh. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Was that one of those Florida teams?
Probably. Maybe Vanderbilt. If you go back when Vanderbilt won it with Kumar Rocker and Jack Leiter, I don't know if they won the conference or not, but that would be a guess. Mm-hmm. I know they won the SEC tournament that year, could have won the conference, because the year before Tennessee last year was Arkansas, and Arkansas was dominant through most of the season, and then again couldn't get to Omaha. And so it's tough. Like I said, you run into a hot team, you run into the wrong pitcher at the wrong time, you hit 3 or 4 balls hard, they get caught in the wrong game, and all of a sudden you're sitting at home. And you tip your hat to those guys that are still playing.
That's a good call. 2019, Kumar Rocker. In fact, it was on this date in 2019 when Kumar struck out 19 Duke Blue Devils back in 2019 in what was a no-hitter. And I know we're all waiting to see what he can do on the next level, but unfortunately he's going through Tommy John surgery right now.
Yeah, that's kind of an epidemic right now in baseball, and there's I hope that more people start talking about it. I love, this is going into a whole different ball of wax, but I love the new recruiting rules for us that we really have to wait till they're a junior in high school before there's any contact between college baseball coaches and a high school prospect. I hope it takes the pressure off of young men throwing so many innings early in a career and putting pressure on their arms, and then as they get older, so much elbow surgeries are happening, and I don't know if that's the case with Kumar or not. I'm just kind of opining a little bit here, but keeping arms healthy in professional baseball, even college baseball, and now even leaking down into high school baseball has become a real challenge, and we know more about how to do it than we've ever known before, and it's still happening a lot.
So is it just when did Tommy John become so prevalent? I mean, it used to be a death sentence, right, for a pitcher, right?
Well, elbows used to be because there was no way to fix them. If you went back to 1950 and you tore your UCL, which is what gives you Tommy John surgery, there was no way to fix it. Your career was over with. You just went on about your business, whatever you were going to do next. And then, of course, Tommy John came along. They named the surgery after him because he was the first one to have it, and it's become much more prevalent. It's not even a big deal to pro ball teams. If you've had one, to be honest with you, you're out a year, but you usually come back just as strong. And, it is what it is. But I had a conversation, and it just seems like with several pitching coaches, and said, 30 years ago, if there were 10 arm surgeries with pitchers, 9 of them were the shoulder, 1 was the elbow, and now it's almost flipped. That if there are 10 surgeries, 9 are elbow, 1's shoulder. We've learned so much about how to keep the shoulder healthy. Pitchers, when they get to most high schools, but definitely college and professional baseball, they have all kind of maintenance routines they do to keep the shoulder healthy, and that has helped. But you can't strengthen a ligament. The ligament is what it is. You can strengthen muscles around it. But when pitchers, and you see the velocity explosion in Major League Baseball, I saw Jacob deGrom going to have surgery again. I think we're going to maybe find out that there's so much torque that a ligament can take in a human body, and we're pressing those lines. And part of it to me is overuse in young baseball players, and that's part of it. And then they get older and the body's mature, and they put that extra torque on it, and that ligament goes.
I wanted to ask about the Alabama-Wake Forest series. I know you played Alabama, but Wake Forest being the number 1 overall seed, what kind of chance would you give Alabama this weekend, Coach?
Well, as much as being an Auburn coach, it might pain me to say this, but Alabama's got a really good baseball team. They really do. They can pitch. I think they've got I know 2 out of their 3 weekend starters are veteran old guys. And I hope they don't take offense to this, but their stuff is not overwhelming. But they really know how to pitch, and they're not scared. They'll go out there and throw the fastball to both sides of the plate. Can cross-count you with some sliders and change-ups and hitters' counts and throw them for strikes. And they're not going to walk you. They're not going to give you free bases, and their bullpen's deep. And, they can score runs. They got a good offense. And you throw all that together, it's tough to beat. And I think Wake Forest is very similar. I think they can pitch it. They can hit it. I think it's going to be a tremendous series. I know better than Wake Forest number 1 seed. I would say it's a coin flip. I think Alabama's got as good a chance as Wake Forest does. And, it's going to be a heck of a super regional.
Were you surprised about the midseason tragedy is what I'm calling it that involved the head coach at the time?
Very. I knew Brad obviously competed against him, but also when he was an assistant at Auburn. I still don't know the details. I'm not going to talk about it, but the only thing I'd ever known about Brad was that I really enjoyed his company and liked him and thought he was a pretty good baseball coach. And so I'm going to leave it at that and just say that I was extremely surprised.
More surprising that they didn't move on from their regional, Arkansas or Vanderbilt?
Oof. I don't know. Both good baseball teams. We didn't play Vanderbilt till the SEC tournament. So only played them once. Played Arkansas 3 times. Fayetteville's a tough place to play. I might say them just because of that. No, Vanderbilt can be tough as well. But there's a lot of people up there in Arkansas calling hogs this time of year.
NIL, how much are you dealing with that from the baseball program perspective, Coach?
Oh, it's part of our world. I know football and basketball get most of the headlines, but there's no doubt that's part of the baseball world. You look around and you have the freedom of the transfer portal open up at the same time as the NIL came to be, and it's kind of a perfect storm. And it's like I said, I know football and basketball, especially football, this part of the country grabs all the headlines, and everybody's focused on that. But it's part of our world.
Finally, your new AD down there at Auburn, it's a shame he doesn't know a lick about baseball, right?
I tell you what, it's been really interesting since John's been our AD, man. He is. I don't think you could have asked for a better start to his career as AD. He is a relentless worker. He is constantly moving toward trying to improve things for Auburn in a lot of different areas, not just baseball. But it's really neat when your AD comes down to the dugout and you get to talk to him about the finer points of a third baseman squaring a ball up, or perhaps drop stepping and fielding off to the side and where his head needs to be. And that's not a conversation that you get to have with many ADs, and he can absolutely have any baseball conversation you want to have with you. It's a pretty good relationship.
I'll be sure and pass along that note to Jay Jacobs. I'm just kidding, Coach. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I could have all kind of conversations with Jay Jacobs, but I don't think Jay would tell you that he doesn't have a business worried about where the third baseman should drop, step, or square up a ball. I don't think he would mind me saying that.
Coach, I always appreciate the time you give us, and
thank you, Coach.
I thank you so much for hopping on.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all have a good day.
And on the subject of John Cohen, the Auburn Athletic Director, the Auburn Hour will continue right after this second time out as John Cohen back fresh from D.C. We'll talk to him next.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Electric cars are coming faster than you think, and that's why we're bringing SEMA Connect to Alabama.
Our team educates you and helps provide a long-term plan for your business. Where to put them, how to get them there, how to pay for them, tax incentives, service, and monitoring. We take care of everything.
Doing the right thing means bringing EV car chargers to Alabama. Let us help you with your EV charging plan.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Philip Love of not only Eagle Insulation, now he represents Eagle Companies. Eagle through the years have added several companies to help individuals or builders through their construction renovation process. Eagle is known to represent quality, efficiency, and professionalism. Philip, I know you do insulation, but do you do masonry?
We do.
Do you do grading, erosion control, and dirt hauled off?
We do.
Do you do afterpaint, which includes shower doors, mirrors, shelving blinds, and bath hardware?
Yes, we do, Wes.
Do you do landscaping and irrigation?
Yes, we do.
So basically, Eagle can help you all along your process of building your house or doing renovations. So do you do plumbing?
We do not, Wes, but we can find somebody to do it.
Just give them time. They'll be there. Anyway, call Eagle Insulation at
256-755-1556.
Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money. Call Eagle today.
Thanks, Wes.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. We should get to enjoy a fair amount of sunshine. We're going to be dry through the course of the afternoon, though a little bit cooler and a little bit less humid on the backside of a cold front. Temperatures only climbing into the low and mid 80s, dropping into the mid and upper 50s through the overnight. Plenty of sunshine for your Friday. Really is going to be a beautiful day across the Tennessee Valley. Temperatures only climbing into the lower 80s. We are going to stay dry, dropping into the mid 50s through the overnight. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is the only place for Drew DeArmond, Wes Neighbors, and of course, Tom Abraham.
I never met him, but I hear that he's a man of character.
97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, it was 1 week ago today. We were down in Destin, Sandestin, at the Ocean Club. And it was 1 week ago today that we were talking to John Cohen, the athletic director for the Auburn Tigers. And the Auburn athletic director is kind enough to join us again. This is starting to turn into an every Thursday thing. I'm good with that. Are you?
Yes, Thursdays. That works for me, guys.
So
how y'all doing today?
We're doing good. We'll end up having a cousin or something for us all over, won't we?
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about your trip to D.C. and how that went up there.
Yeah, certainly. The entire Southeastern Conference is represented there, and we're looking for solutions. We view this as an existential threat to college athletics, and we feel that well, the folks in the media don't like the word guardrail. I'm going to use the word standard. We just don't have a standard in college athletics, and I might have mentioned last Thursday, but I still believe this. We can't have a situation where local Little League baseball has a more efficient way of putting their teams together than Division I athletics. We've got to do better, and I think we can do better, and I think we're on the right path right now with in Washington, D.C. to make that happen.
Did you pick up on maybe some momentum that was gained? Because there's been a lot of speculation that once the political races ramp up, that this could be shelved for a while.
Yeah, I think that's certainly possible, and we know that these things don't happen quickly, but I also am encouraged by the fact that especially our representation in Alabama is fully aware of the challenges that are in front of us and very willing to listen and discuss these matters. All of the representatives that we talk to and senators were highly aware and in tune with what's going on in the footprint of the Southeastern Conference. Everything from the state laws that have been created around us to name, image, and likeness, free agency that's happening out of the portal. They are fully aware and engaged, and I really believe they can be a great help to us.
What are the early returns from NIL affecting fundraising for you, John?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly there. And I think really, I think coaches dictate this more than athletic directors, really, because the first thing that donors ask our coaches is, "What do you need? What are your priorities?" And I think our coaches, to a person, have said, "Hey, our priorities are are collective now. Maybe not so much with the facility. All coaches want to have the best facilities, but I think in some respects, a lot of our coaches are saying we need a fighting chance in the collective world. And even though in some ways that's unfortunate, it's kind of where we are. And so that can't help but affect your fundraising efforts, because most of the time those fundraising efforts surround facility enhancement.
Would you say, I don't mean to pencil you down with a hard number, is it at least like 20%, 25%, more than 25%?
I don't think we are in that range, but certainly it has hurt our bottom line.
Fair enough.
So, I guess going back to 20 years ago, or maybe not quite that long, that the universities pretty much controlled the athletic departments, right? The extra money went to a lot of the. I remember maybe 4 presidents ago, they collected all the money the athletic department made. There's always been this, in my opinion, at a lot of unit schools, this friction between the governing body of the school versus the athletic department. That seems to have changed, but do you foresee that coming back now because of all the – there's only a limited amount of dollars you can get, and it has – when you get from one, the other has to be lacking somehow, right?
Yeah, I think that's certainly been the case at some institutions. It's certainly not the case at Auburn. Dr. Chris Roberts has done an incredible job, and we're in lockstep, campus and our athletic department. And I do feel like in the modern age, as you mentioned, Wes, that has changed with most athletic departments. But we've got to be, because we're just in a new world right now. And the threats, the lawsuits, everything that's going on can really hurt not just our sports that create revenue, but especially our non-revenue sports. I'm very concerned about that. Our great commissioner Greg Sankey said this, that in the last Olympic Games, that if the Southeastern Conference was a country, it would have been the third highest medal winner in the Olympics.
Wow. I did not know that. Did you know that, Steve?
No, I did not.
So you think about that, and you think about, let's be honest, the Olympic sports are the ones who don't create revenue traditionally.
Yeah.
And you think they're being funded by sports that do create revenue. What's going to happen if all the revenue is redirected and none of our other Olympic sports can be funded at the level that they're being funded right now? What does that do to the Olympics? And what does that say about the Southeastern Conference and the Olympic Committee's dependency on the Southeastern Conference? I think it's pretty significant. They're getting a pretty good deal. I think everybody's getting a pretty darn good deal off the Southeastern Conference. Well, let's look at baseball for a minute and look at, really, I've seen some projections that say that as many as 7 of the top 10 prospects in amateur baseball right now are in the Southeastern Conference.
That's right. Yeah.
I think the whole world's getting a pretty good ride professionally off of the Southeastern Conference, and I guess what I'm wondering is what are these organizations willing to give back? I mean, at some level, we're going to need the help of these organizations to keep Olympic sports competing at a high level, and obviously these kids go off and do great things at other levels once they leave us, and even while they're with us, but so something's going to have to give.
So I talked to an athletic director not long ago. He said there are 3 sports that are profitable at his university. It was football, men's football, men's basketball, and then cheerleading because of the camps.
Yes.
Do y'all is that true at Auburn also?
I feel like it really depends on how you include revenue, and obviously there are sports that create revenue. Here at Auburn, gymnastics creates revenue. Obviously, men's basketball creates revenue. Baseball creates revenue. The question is, do they meet and exceed their budget. And at Auburn University, there's only one sport that meets and exceeds their budget in terms of revenue, and that's the sport of football. And that's probably the case throughout the Southeastern Conference. So it's great that we have sports that create revenue, but there's only one that gets to their budget and beyond, and that's currently football. And you know what? I mean, the cheerleading thing makes sense. I've never looked into that part, but that would make sense.
One sidebar question, now that you're on, Coach, I'm getting multiple questions. What went into the termination of the Tennessee Southern Miss regional, super regional, and why didn't Tennessee get to host is the questions I'm getting right now, Coach.
Yeah, it was a very difficult decision. When you look at the policy within the framework of the NCAA and you read through the policy manual, when two teams are of equal seating, what you're really looking at is revenue generation, and that you look at through the bid process, you look at the facilities, and there are a couple of more factors, but the primary consideration that's listed specifically in our policy manual has to do with revenue generation, and that was the key issue for us.
Fair enough. You mentioned the high bar that we have from playing baseball here in the Southeastern Conference, and some big time matchups this weekend. And I'm thoroughly going to be watching down in Gainesville. That South Carolina Florida Super Regional just looks fascinating to me, Coach.
Yeah, there's some really good matchups. That's a great matchup. The Kentucky LSU is a great matchup. Tennessee is playing their best baseball of the year, and they'll play in a tough environment, of course, down there at Southern Miss, who's playing well. Let's be honest, guys. You can't get to a super regional without playing well. And so every team that is playing in a super regional is playing well, and nobody's hotter than TCU right now, and they're going to play a very hot Indiana State team. I love that matchup as well. Stanford is on a roll. There's some good matchups.
We just had Gabe Gross on, Coach, and he mentioned how nice it is to be sitting down in the dugout and be able to talk defensive stances from the third baseman with your athletic director.
You know what? It's fun to talk about those things. I'm so far removed from that now, guys, but it's, every once in a while it's fun to talk about those things. And Gabe is just one of the elite coaches in the country, and what he did here as a student athlete in the big leagues. It's fun to be around I love all of our coaches here at Auburn. They bring so much to all of our student athletes.
I wanted to circle back to D.C. and get one final thought from you as we're talking to John Cohen, the Auburn Athletic Director right now in the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. What were your expectations going into D.C.? Did they meet it, exceeded? I'm curious from that standpoint, Coach.
Well, the people we met with, it exceeded my expectation. Their knowledge, their willingness to listen and to be part of this process was terrific. So I left there much more optimistic than I was when we made the trip. Not because we thought that something bad was going to happen or that these folks don't care, only because there's so much on their plates. When you throw college athletics on top of everything else, like a debt ceiling and all the other issues they're dealing with in Washington, D.C., you're just humbled by the fact that they're willing to even listen.
Well, our Thursdays with John Cohen continue, and we certainly appreciate the time you give us.
You got it, Steve. Wes, I sure appreciate y'all, and say War Eagle to all my friends out there. If we can help in the future, let us know.
Well, of course, we've got a proud Auburn grad behind the glass who's screaming War Eagle as soon as you say that. So happy to pass that along. Thank you, Coach.
Thank y'all.
That is the athletic director for the Auburn Tigers. I mean, it's the Jackson Love Hour.
We're going to have to get him a cheerleader outfit.
Yeah. Well, it makes money. I mean,
absolutely.
I'm at least encouraged by what I heard there from John Cohen, but it doesn't make me feel as if that this if it is going to happen on a quick turnaround, it would happen before this football season were to start, and I just don't think that's going to happen. My opinion.
Well, it's no way it's going to happen this year. I hope it gets bumped.
Well, if it's not happening this year, next year, of course, the election cycle, it feels like this would be tabled for a couple of years.
I don't think it'll be tabled. I just don't think they'll. I'm not sure they'll ever agree exactly what to do. And that's the union thing. I mean, they're going to want for what we talked about yesterday.
Yeah. Do you think that's the sticking point?
Oh yeah, there'll be a group up there that want to unionize, because to them it's about raising revenue, not necessarily for the country. So there you go.
256-576-4977, the telephone number if you'd like to react to anything you heard there. Tennessee Vol fans, I hope you're satisfied with that answer of not hosting your Super Regional. I will say, I watched a lot of the Ole Miss, Southern Miss Super Regional from last year, and it was at Southern Miss. That atmosphere was electric. There are certain events that really don't flow through the screen, be it the television screen or your phone or whatever, however you're consuming. But that Super Regional last year, you could tell it was just bonkers. It was just next level in terms of the passion that they have. And, of course, their war cry is, let's keep the national championship in state. Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Southern Miss, which that would be ridiculous to think about. 256-576-4977, the number to be a part of the program if you'd like to react to anything you heard there from the Auburn athletic director, or Gabe Gross as well from earlier in the hour. I did let Coach Gross know that we were going to have the AD on, and he said few didn't say anything bad about my boss. So there's that. We mentioned a little bit about the Big Ten and their football schedule, as the Big Ten has released, how are they wording this? 2024 is the first season that USC and UCLA will both be in the Big Ten. And the Big Ten, we've already gone through the games on the 2024 schedule of the secure games, the games that will happen. They've also released the conference opponents as well, but I wanted to dive into a little bit more of their strategy. The Big Ten, this just in, they're eliminating divisions. I know people are swerving right now. And there's also some news as well out of the Big Ten just released this afternoon. ESPN has moved a Big Ten game to Friday night. It will be Friday, September the 8th. You ready for the matchup of Kansas and Illinois on a Friday night? All of a sudden, these games starting to get moved because Fridays used to be, and I know more and more college games get populated here on Fridays, but that used to be kind of the gentleman's agreement of Fridays were set aside for high school football, Saturdays set aside for college football, Sundays set aside for the NFL. Well, the NFL kind of does whatever they want. They are the 900-pound gorilla in the room when it comes to sports and what kind of revenue and what kind of beast they are as they bring in there in the National Football League. But at least ESPN moving the Kansas-Illinois game to a Friday night. And, you know, I'm not sure if I would have watched Kansas and Illinois in the first place. I'll be calling a high school football game that night, so I really won't be watching Kansas and Illinois on Friday night there. The Big Ten also unveiled its list of opponents doing away with the East and West divisions and also going with a Flex Protect model schedule. The league announced this means that they will have different numbers of annual opponents. Some teams could have 1, others could have 3. Well, it doesn't say they wouldn't have any, but as little as 1 and as many as 3, according to this story from On3, as well as the Athletics' Nicole Auerbach. It not only helps protect traditional rivalries, but also keeps an eye towards competitive balance, home and away rotations, and specific challenges around West Coast travel, because, you have USC and UCLA there as well. The Big Ten also revealed each team's opponents for the 2024 season. Dates, kickoff times will be announced at a later time. All right, is there any team that you care to hear about their schedule in 2024 in the Big Ten, Wes? Anybody? Maryland?
There are 2 teams there. Maryland's getting better. Let's see how they do this year. Loxley is their defense went from 112 to the top 20 last year.
Well, just for
top
you,
30.
Just for you, Wolverine Dan, the 2024 Michigan schedule, this is not in order. It's just who you're playing. You're at Illinois, host Maryland, host Michigan State, host Minnesota, at Ohio State, at Rutgers, at USC, host UCLA, and hosting Wisconsin. And again, not necessarily in that order. I'm sure they will end the year with Ohio State. That'll wrap up the Auburn Hour. We'll be right back.
There are those among us when disaster strikes and seconds count, they rush in. Where would Huntsville and America be without them? They're our military and our first responders, and at Woody Anderson Ford, we salute them. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, where all military personnel and all first responders get an extra $1,000 appreciation cash on top of all other offers. This offer is good through July 5th and can include an extra $1,000 bonus cash on 2023 F-150 and Bronco Sport, $1,500 cash back on 23 Edge, and $2,000 cash back on 23 Explorers. These offers are available for everyone with good credit through Ford Motor Credit, but military and first responders get an additional $1,000 appreciation cash. Our way of saying thank you for having our back. Woody Anderson Ford, over 60 years of serving those that serve us. Hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Steve Lennox. NBA Finals continue Friday night with Game 4 in Miami. Nuggets now lead the series 2-1 over the Heat. Miami's Tyler Hero still not cleared. He will be ruled out for Game number 4 Friday night. Hero broke his right hand during the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. That injury taking place back on April 16th. He has not played since. Game 4 Friday night on ABC television. Coverage underway at 7:30 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio. Florida Panthers down 2-0 in the Stanley Cup Final. Play host to the Las Vegas Golden Knights for Game 3 tonight. Puck dropping in a little over 1 hour. The Golden Knights have outscored the Panthers 12-4 and winning the first 2 games at home. 12 goals in the Stanley Cup Final, tied for the most by any team through the first 2 games of a Cup Final. ESPN's Adam Schefter reporting today. Minnesota Vikings expected to release running back Dalvin Cook if they cannot work out a trade. ESPN's Diana Rossini on where Cook could land next.
So the teams that are interested in Dalvin Cook at this point, right? There's always a lot of teams, but the teams that we know of right now, the Denver Broncos, who recently just cut 3 running backs from their roster, and the Miami Dolphins. Now, I was told from sources in Miami that they are very happy with their running back room at this point. They know Dalvin Cook is going to be a pricey signing. They also know he can make them a lot better.
ESPN's Diana Rossini. Vikings would owe Cook $2 million if they release him and would save $9 million in cap space. Baseball in the Bronx. White Sox hit 4 home runs and held on for a 6-5 victory over the Yankees.
Coming up Friday, ESPN ranked every single NFL roster and said the Chiefs had the best one. How could you do that? Wait till you hear my response to the list. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Rolling along here on a Thursday. We heard from Gabe Gross as well as John Cohen in hour number 1. Phone lines open to you as we're walking you up to Braves baseball as the Braves look to sweep out the Metropolitans this evening, but it'll be a tough one as Justin Verlander is on the mound for the Mets, but the Braves will counter with Spencer Strider. Might have to worry about that sophomore slump. 256-576-4977. Also, coming up later on tonight, it is Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final as it shifts to Fort Lauderdale adjacent, as the Florida Panthers playing host to the Vegas Golden Knights. In Vegas, boy, if you've watched any of this final, Vegas is putting on a clinic as it stands right now. Anything can be shifted, much like what we see, what's going on in the NBA Finals, but it feels like Vegas is just up here and everybody else is below them right now. But we'll see what happens when Florida gets their home ice here over the next handful of games, but they are down in the series 2-0. On the subject of NBA Finals, last night it was all Nuggets, and it was not one but two different Nugget players that went triple-double hunting, and Denver head coach Michael Malone was quite happy with how his team reacted.
Huge improvement. Really proud of our guys last night because the effort, the communication, the discipline in Game 2 was unacceptable on this stage. And our players owned it. You know, there was no fight. There was no resistance. We owned it. We talked about it. And we vowed to be better in Game 3. Only 11 made threes for them. I think that's going to be the huge point of who's going to win this series. Can we make them beat us with tough twos? And if you do that, you're going to give yourselves a great chance. 17 threes is way too many in Game 1. We rebounded them by 25. We had 28 assists. It was just a complete 180 in terms of effort. And tomorrow night, Game 4 on the road, will have to be even better if we can try to go up 3-1. And I think our guys, being around them as much as I have been, they're definitely up for that, and I'm excited for it.
As much as I want to sit here and pound the pavement and say, Denver's winning it, every single time I count out the Miami Heat,
they do it.
They just come back.
I know,
and
they do it, yeah.
So I have no idea what's going to happen. Jimmy Butler, this is the comments.
I think it's obvious Denver has the best team.
They do, yes, but
the best team doesn't always win.
Exactly.
We feel great. We didn't play our best tonight. I feel like we just got to come out with more energy and effort, and that's correctable. That's on us as a group. No X's and O's can fix that. So, come out, dive on the floor, get loose balls, get defensive rebounds, and maybe, just maybe, it would have been a different game.
One other soundbite from Jimmy.
Nick Friedel, ESPN. You guys got out-rebounded 58-33.
You mentioned the effort. Why do you think it was so lacking tonight?
I don't know. I can't answer that. Maybe, we're at home. We think we did something. I don't know. It just can't happen. It won't happen again. It starts with myself. I got to lock in on a defensive end. I got to go up and get loose balls. So I think if I start playing and doing that, then everybody else has to follow suit.
I will say, having been in that arena earlier this year, once again, Miami crowd being a Miami crowd, late arriving, early leaving.
A lot to do in Miami.
Well, there is, yeah. Right out in front of the building, too.
Yes, apparently.
Mark is on line 1, and he calls into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. How are you, Mark?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm getting ready for Alabama to win the national championship in football this year. So, anyway.
Won't make me cry, that's for sure.
I thought it was, I thought you were, I heard the words Georgia three-peat. It just sounded a little different in my headset.
Yeah, I don't, it's hard to do.
It hasn't been done.
Well, it's been done one time, hasn't it?
No, they didn't give it to Alabama. Alabama was undefeated. They didn't give it to them.
Oh yeah, that's right. The ring that they didn't get.
Missing ring.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I was going to ask you guys. Well, I was looking at Ohio State's schedule. Not that I care.
Yeah.
But I do think the Big Ten's doing something that the SEC can learn from. But they're not. SEC's not going to do it because there's too many great teams in the SEC, and that is. Big Ten's got a sliding scale, permanent teams, right? We'll play this one, we want to, we'll play that one, and don't ask us any questions. So they're going to protect Ohio State and Michigan.
No question.
Okay, so anybody that thinks they're not, that's what they're going to do, protect Michigan, Ohio State, maybe Penn State. Now, if you look at Alabama and just throw everything out. I was, looking at, they got Tennessee, LSU, and Auburn. I mean, it's unbelievable, that a team that's been dominant like Alabama for all these years, and clearly the SEC office and whoever comes up with all these things, they're not protecting Alabama by any means, nor are they protecting, I guess, any SEC team. So what makes that difference, I guess, guys? Is it just because SEC is the best?
So,
why are we not protecting Alabama? Because
they should be protected. They should be. Nobody should be protected. And you said that. That's what makes the Southeastern Conference, in my opinion, the best conference. If you go watch the Maryland Ohio State and the Maryland Michigan game. Now, I didn't watch many. I watched other games in the Big Ten, but those two games and the calls that were made were awful. I mean, they weren't even close to being. They can't be defended, and I think they protect Michigan and Ohio State, and every year in the preseason they're going to be the best, this or that, and they haven't won but one national championship, but they act like they're going to win it every year. I mean, they act like they got 2 or 3 teams going to be in it, and they got the toughest league, and it's all minutia.
Well, it is. In Ohio State, I know they had Georgia to a one-point game. I need to go back and look at that game. I didn't watch it when it happened, but I'm shocked at that, really, because Alabama laid them out and blew them out, Well,
Ohio State, but Ohio State has players, and I don't think Georgia was as good as they have been last year. I think they were good. They won every game.
Peaked at the right time.
Yeah, but they had a couple games where they could have easily
Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri, and then
Kent State.
Yeah. There were some games they played awful in, but yet they won. I'm not trying to down them. I just don't think. I think they had better teams that lost it.
Yeah.
Than I think the team Alabama beat on 2nd and 26 would have destroyed this year's Georgia team. I think they had a really, really good football
certainly
team.
A better defense.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. And anyway, no, but that's just what I wanted to comment on, and I appreciate y'all taking my call, and I'm so glad to have a radio station to listen to in the evenings, and y'all keep up the great work.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
256-576-1037. 256-497-7. 256-576-4977, the number to be a part of the program. If you'd like to hop on and join us before we make way for Braves baseball. Some other stories to get out. I have been a Heisman Trophy voter. This year will be, I think, my 9th year voting for that. And trust me, I really never thought in my wildest dream I'd be voting for the Heisman Trophy, because that is a prestigious, and I cannot tell you how seriously I take my vote in the Heisman Trophy. But if there's one thing I can tell you,
what was his Make Towel? What was his name? Make My Towel. The boy from Notre Dame. Go ahead. That you voted for, the boy from the Catfish boy.
The updated odds. If there's one thing that I can glean in my previous 8 years, stories in June tell you who's not going to win the Heisman Trophy, because it has just been wild for the Heisman Trophy. I say that to say your odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy is Caleb Williams, and that would make him consecutive years, which has not been done since the 70s. And your top SEC player, anybody?
Hold on. Let me think about it. Wow, I think the LSU quarterback would have to be a consideration, right? Who else, Love Child?
Maybe Joe Moulton could be on the list of possible.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, possible
ones.
What do you got, Steve?
I was just gonna let it hash out for a second. If who do you think is the best player in the Southeastern Conference?
I think that's yet to be determined.
There is no one player
Who's
that's
at Georgia.
Probably the offensive lineman. That's not going to happen. If I had to, right now, I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is probably the best player in the Southeastern Conference heading into this season.
I think he might be the best corner, but I don't know about the best player.
Well, then who is the best player in the SEC?
Well, I'd like to play part of the season to decide that.
Well,
right?
I mean, it's June. We can't magically fast forward to September.
Well, I mean, even then, I'd like to wait till about October. I remember you used to talk about what was the guy at Georgia?
Which one? JT?
No, the linebacker that went to Chicago. I think now he's somewhere else.
Oh, yeah. I did vote for him.
Yeah, and you know, and
you kind of looked at me cross-eyed when I did it.
Yeah, but he was a really good football player. I will tell you, in that Alabama game, if he doesn't, you go watch him play in the fourth quarter.
Roquan Smith.
If he's not on that field, Alabama wins by 3 touchdowns. He made all. You won't believe the plays he makes in that game.
Wes, you were correct. Jaden Daniels, the LSU quarterback, is the first SEC player, at least according to the Vegas boards. He has the same odds as Cabe Klubnik. He is the quarterback at Clemson, as well as some guy at Oregon named Bo Nix.
Funny what having an offensive line can do for your career.
Wow. You're second on the leaderboard behind Caleb Williams. This, according to the big board at Vegas, is Jordan Travis, the quarterback at Florida State. Then Drake May. He has the same odds as does Quinn Ewers, the quarterback at Texas. Are you getting a sense of quarterback? The first non-quarterback is at a plus 2,500. A plus 2,500 is wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State.
He's a good player now.
By the way, on the big board right now, at a plus 5,000, Ty Simpson and Tyler Buckner.
Huh. I'll tell you, Ty Simpson has the ability to be the best quarterback in the nation. He has the ability. Will he be consistent enough? Will he work hard enough? Will he do the things you have to do that? That's the question. It's not the talent.
Further up the leaderboard, they're both at a plus 2,000. Georgia quarterback Carson Beck and Tennessee quarterback Joe Moulton are both at a plus 2,000. We'll see. In terms of scheme and what we've already seen, be it at Central Florida and his brief time at Tennessee, Tennessee, I'm just telling you, it is a team to keep a close eye on. It looks like all that turmoil over the past, how long has it been? Almost 16 years? 17? It feels a lot longer than that. But since the end of the Fulmer campaign, they have gone through a host of coaches, and it finally feels like they've got their guy.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good, but I think this year they're not going to be as good as they were last year overall.
You mean just wins and losses?
Yes. Now, I think before it's over with, that he'll get them to the playoffs. I do think that's coming.
When they expand the playoffs.
Right.
So.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not going to be this year, so yeah. I mean, but I think he'll be in the top 4. I think his team will
have a bye.
Yes, before it's over with, yes.
They'll have a bye in a playoffs.
He's a good coach. I just think that what happens is now that Tennessee's done what they've done, gone through the conference, these guys will study what they do, and they're looking at it right now as we talk.
Why don't more teams spread out as much as Tennessee does?
Well,
Utilize the entire field.
So here's the deal, Steve. There's a way to cover that, right?
It wasn't done very well last year.
It wasn't, because it takes a minute for these. You act like these coaches been around for a long time and done this and seen this. I guarantee you Jerry Granville will stop him. Well, he's seen it. He's seen everything. He knows how to counter everything. You know, and these other teams think, well, you do this and do that, and then you're coaching. Not everybody sees it. The reps. You have to have the reps, too. Alabama blew 17 coverages. They had 17 busts against them because they didn't look at it every day. That's part of it. Nobody else is running it. So you don't practice it every day, and those guys are young kids. They're going to school during the week, and we've seen a lot of teams have a tremendous amount of success with different systems. And then by the end of it, everybody kind of catches up. We saw that with Gus Malzahn.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Gus's team won 9 games last year. It feels like you can just pencil in 9 wins. It's kind of like that neighborhood that you drive through that's like the cookie cutter house. Oh, look, there's a 9-win season. Oh, look, there's a 9-win season. I mean, it's just.
You don't like that until he leaves. And
it's 6-8 when you lose the bowl game.
Tennessee won 11 games last year. They played 13. They won 11. That's a high bar, obviously.
Well, so I don't think they're going to take a step back. I just don't think they'll be as good. Their quarterback, until he got hurt. I'm not Milton, the other guy, till he got hurt last year.
Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker was daggum.
He was a Heisman Trophy
finalist. I thought he was at times the best quarterback in the country. A lot of times. Now,
I would have taken him over the guy who won the Heisman Trophy.
But and listen, I was watching that South Carolina game, and there are a lot of people say, "Well, he hadn't got hurt. We'd have won." That game was over. I mean, I think they were down by 30 when he hurt his knee. It was just one of those games where nothing went right.
Yeah.
Happens. Yeah. Then, I don't think we ever got beat by 30 though. Offenses were different, though.
The Vols schedule, just to see how you feel. Let's see if we can find 11 wins. Virginia, Austin Peay, Florida, the Roadrunners of UTSA, South Carolina, Texas A&M, then at Alabama, at Kentucky, host UConn, at Mizzou, host Georgia, and host Vanderbilt. I see
they got some wins in there now.
3, 4. I'll give them South Carolina. 5, because that's going to be a revenge game. Texas A&M. I mean, there are certain
be
teams.
Better.
I
agree with people who say they're going to be better.
There are certain teams that remind me of a house with vaulted ceilings and low floors, of just how high the ceiling could be or how low. If you tell me Arkansas and Texas A&M are going to Atlanta or not bowl eligible, I'd say, okay, all right, I can. If you have a convincing argument, we'll see. I do wonder who the media is going to pick coming out of the West. This is the last year of divisions that the media will be able to pick divisions.
They're going to pick LSU. A lot of people
You think we're going to see LSU? I think we're going to have more Bama than you think picking
I think
the Crimson
Alabama's
Tide.
going to be very, very good.
I think they're going to be elite.
Yeah, I think the defense will be tremendously better.
Let's take our first time out, final call for phone calls. Already one out in the top of the first. It's scoreless. Mets and Braves.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
When was the last time you changed the oil in your car? You probably know the answer to that without having to think too hard. When was the last time you had your home's air conditioning system checked? If the answer is, I've never done that, you should listen to the rest of this commercial. Your home's heating and cooling system is very likely the most expensive appliance you have. You've got your refrigerator, your washer and dryer, your TV, and other electronic devices. None of these items come close to the investment you have in your home's heating and cooling system. And what's even more startling is your home's comfort system uses more energy than all of your other appliances combined. Become a member of the Environmental Comfort Systems Comfort Care Club, and we'll make sure your home's comfort system is operating the way it's supposed to. Give Environmental Comfort Systems a call today. We are your independently owned American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Visit our website at envcomfort.com. Alabama license number 92314. Environmental Comfort Systems. That's envcomfort.com.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Finding great people to hire can be like trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Their powerful matching technology delivers so many qualified candidates, it's like finding a needle in a needle stack. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. For less hay and more needles, head to ZipRecruiter.
Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Wow, he's got the hand ready to pot that down. You notice that did not play during the Auburn hour, in the 5 o'clock hour. Yeah, he was ready to be done with that.
Just giving you guys a little nudge.
Yeah. Now, there are certain times we do play the full song, just a heads up. Yeah, but final call for phone calls, 256-576-4977 is the telephone number. Again, don't forget tomorrow morning, at 8 a.m., your chance to grab $50 worth of Correos Mexican Grill for just $25. They were kind enough to feed us today. Head on over there. They're on Old Monrovia Road.
Mixed burrito. Must try.
The burrito.
Burrito.
The burrito.
Whatever the hot sauce you gave me was incredible.
Yes. I believe we got the burrito special. No, I'm sorry. The burrito gigante is what we got. And yes, yeah, gigante. Joe is on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. What do you say, Joe?
Translate gigante, Steve.
Giant.
Oh, okay, that's good. Did you learn that on Babbel?
No, I probably learned that from Senorita Gibson my junior year of high school.
Is that your girlfriend?
There was a lot of students that wanted to get to know Senorita Gibson back in the day. I'm just saying, she was in charge of the cheerleading squad at Tucker High School. Anyway,
I digress.
Yes, please, Joe, move on.
Okay, I'll move on, Steve. Do you think is there a chance in hell that the Congress can pass a bill that's going to hold up with challenges to the Supreme Court?
Well, yes. I think that's, I think that's a given when they get, if they can get a bill and make it a law. Yeah. Yes.
Or don't you think it'll be challenged? I mean, of course, you don't know what the bill's going to come out, but
you know what? That takes years. I'm not worried about that. They need to do something. I don't think they'll get it done. This is just me. I think there'll be too many opinions and too many people wanting to create. I mean, there's already a huge section of the push to unionize from the lawyers,
right.
from the a lot of the congressmen and senators there, and we all know why. So, I mean, it's just another way to try to fund their deal.
Yeah, again, it's all about money. But, hey, did you ever figure out about the guy that was complaining about y'all shouting too much?
It was streaming, not screaming. I think that Jim was
streaming.
It was streaming, not screaming. And I heard screaming, but,
Well, I just thought he might have thought he was still calling into the Pound Bomb show.
Could have been.
Anyway. All right, guys. I got to go spray my pasture. Y'all have a good night.
Spray away. Ronald Acuna, a leadoff double for the Braves. He is on second base with one out in the bottom of the first. Let's join the Braves after this final timeout. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
I'm attorney Gary Lackey. You know, you'll hear people say we're like a family, but here at the Lackey Law Firm, that's really true, not just a saying.
I'm Justin Lackey. With my father and my sister, we have a special connection to each other.
I'm Jennifer Lackey. At the Lackey Law Firm, when we take on your case, you become part of our family. You really do.
And we'll always do whatever it takes to get everything you deserve.
If you're injured, you worry about getting well,